Welcome to my PowerPoint about theory crafting decks for every class. So, I'm going to preface this, I'm not in theory crafting today. However, I still wanted to make a video like this, just talking about what I would be playing or decks that are similar. However, these decks are not running the required, I think it's 10 cards for theory crafting. Some of them obviously will, right, because I ran full packages, but this is just, decks that I'm going to be playing day one or, first week, and I just wanted to get them out there because I feel like some people, don't know what to play or don't even know, like, what you can do with some of these cards, so I just want to get out there. We start with Death Knight and Rainbow Reno Death Knight. Okay, so this deck is probably terrible, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to be playing it a lot. You have the new card, Exarch Maladar. It's all the way right here. It's a 6 mana 5/5 with 1 Unholy Rune, and it makes Battlecry, your next card you play this turn, cost corpses. So the idea is that you play a lot of cards to generate a lot of corpses, like Mining Casualties, Dreadhound Handler, a lot of stuff. You have a lot of minions that'll generate a lot of corpses, a lot of spells that generate a lot of corpses. Then you can play Maladar and play your Climatic Necrotic Explosion a lot cheaper. You have Pupil to copy it. You have the new card, Lunar Trailblazer, which sets the cost of a random spell in your hand to its cost. So if you high roll, you can hit this Trailblazer onto an explosion. The deck is obviously terrible, right? It's just like a Rainbow Reno Death Knight trying to make use of some new cards, and I doubt that it's anything good. However, it's going to be really fun. Maladar, spending a lot of corpses is a really fast way to ramp up your Climatic Necrotic Explosion. And overall, it's just really good with Reno Lone Ranger. I'm gonna be real with you for a second. I paused for a second right there, and I don't know if it fully paused, and I don't have time to edit this video fully, so that sucks. Sorry about that if that did happen. I just don't have the time today. But anyway, so you can play early with Reno Lone Ranger and get Reno out early, which is really strong into starships because, well, if your opponent tries to play starships or get all that stuff, you can just Reno their starship away, and then all the pieces, all the stuff they play is just useless. It's going to be really toxic. I'm not looking forward to it existing, but it is something you can do. Death Knight definitely looks like the best class in the game for dealing with starships because of this interaction. So, yeah, but starships look pretty weak overall. I think I made like 3 starship decks total for this video, and they just, I don't know, they just don't look very strong. The Death Knight one looks pretty bad. The Warlock one looks pretty bad. Like, I don't know. I just think they're not very good. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I only made 2. Anyway, let's move on to Demon Hunter. Oh yeah, because I also made Demon Hunter a starship, of course. This is aggro starship Demon Hunter. The whole idea is that you play towards your starship, you play all the tempo, because starship is pretty tempo oriented. You play a 2 into a 3 into a 4, right? But on the flip side, you're also running pirates. Pirates synergize pretty well with the starship because you have cards like Felfuse Battery, which is 2 mana 2/3. After this attack, give your other minions +1 attack. So you can get minions on board, you can get that to attack for starships. You have some pretty, like, overstated minions, like Crystal Welder, 2 mana 2/3, Taunt, Battlecry, if you're building a starship, game +2/+2. You have a really powerful draw card in Warp Drive, 3 mana Fel Spell, draw 2 cards. If you're building a starship, they cost 2 less, so you can discount a lot of the cards in your deck. Most of your deck is pretty cheap, aside from the Exodar, which overall the Exodar might not even be that good in the deck, I'm going to be honest with you, but it's definitely something you can do. Basically, what happens is you'll summon your starship, it will have Rush and Wind Fury, and then after this attacks, give your other minions +1 attack. It might even have 2 of those Felfuse batteries in them. So you can set it up with Sigil of Skydiving or the location, and if you have Sigil of Skydiving up, then 2 Felfuse batteries in your starship, and then, and a Shadow Shard turret. It'll give your Sigil of Skydiving minions +4 attack. So you'll have 3 5/1 chargers, and that's nothing to scoff at. Same with Dangerous Cliffside, if you can get Dangerous Cliffside to pop off and things like that. So you can actually get some pretty insane charge damage from hand with the starship, and I think this is probably what the intended use case was. I'm not sure, because we don't know the intended use case. A lot of the starships, a lot of them seem pretty bad is kind of the thing. So there is that, but I think this deck is pretty fun overall. I'm definitely looking forward to trying it out. Will it be good? I'm not too sure, but it definitely looks like something that I'm going to want to play. So you know, I'm gonna have a lot of fun playing it. Then we have Druid. So Druid had a pretty bad expansion overall. It got all these arcane spells and arcane cards, and they didn't look that strong. So what I decided is to put the Starship into Spell Damage Druid. You have the new cards, Arcanite Revelation, which is a 1-mana arcane spell. Draw a card if it's a spell, costs 1 less. Shatari Cloakfield, 2-mana 1/3 elusive. Your first spell each turn costs 1 less. Starship Peace. You have Starlight Reactor, 3-mana 3/3. After you cast an arcane spell, recast it. Target's chosen randomly. Exarch Othar, 4-mana 3/3 Draenei Battlecry. If you're building a starship, get 3 different arcane spells and reduce the cost by 2. And lastly, the new card, Distress Signal, 4-mana arcane spell, or summon 2 random 2-cost minions, fresh 2 mana crystals. So the idea is the starship allows you to play a lot more tempo-oriented in your spell damage druid. Then when you get your big starship pop-off turn, right, you can play the starship. You'll have 2 cloak fields, 2 reactors in. So you can play like Distress Signal, which will give you positive mana because of 2 reactors. It'll make you go +2 mana. Sleep Under the Stars can trigger twice, and that will give you a disgusting amount of mana. You'll effectively have infinite mana as long as you can get your starship and Sleep Under the Stars out in the same time. New Heights can set you over the mana cap to make sure something like that happens. You have a lot of card draw from cards like Breakdown, Bottomless Toy Chest, which is also an arcane spell which gets triggered twice. I think that this deck honestly has potential. I'm going to be so real with you, and that's scary for me. Because before I actually put this deck together, I was like, oh, the Starship looks pretty bad. But after adding like all of the really good spell damage Druid cards, I'm like, wow, this is I'm a little scared, honestly, of this this deck. You know, overall, I didn't think Druid was that strong, but like, yeah, if you're actually trying to make this work, you'd probably cut Exarch Othar. You'd probably run some more stuff, right, that's more oriented towards it, but I was trying to put as many cards as I could in, right? I don't think there are 10. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 new cards, so not even 10. But I don't know. It just looks really fun. I'm going to be honest with you. I am actually looking to play this deck as well. It's kind of the reason I built it, right? Is because I wanted to make the Starship pieces work. Because overall, it's a cool mechanic, but playing in Spell Damage Druid, this is disgusting to look at. I'm actually not happy that this is something that I might have to run into on ladder. I'm a little worried. Anyway, let's move on to Hunt. Oh, that was the wrong way. I hit the wrong button. To Hunter. So Discover Hunter is already looking to be one of the best like archetypes of the expansion. It just looks so powerful. You completely blank other aggro decks because of alien encounters. You can get multiple alien encounters out by turn 4 as long as you have a pretty decent high roll. It's not even like a crazy high roll. It's just like a pretty decent one. Like you have Scarab Keychain on 1 into Birdwatching on 2 into either like Tracking or another Scarab Keychain on 3. Then you can play Rangari Scout, either Tracking or another Scarab Keychain on 4. You can then play Alien, or sorry, I can't do the math. Okay, wait, I already had this lined up in another video when I was showing these cards. I have to think about it for a second. So you play turn 1, you can play Scarab Keychain or Tracking. Turn 2, you play Birdwatching. Turn 3, you either play the other of Tracking and Scarab Keychain. Then you can play Alien Encounters because it will cost 3 or will cost 2 because it's been discounted 3 times. Then, because it costs 2, on turn 4, you can play Rangari Scout, either Tracking or Keychain, and then you can play another Alien Encounters, or then you can, sorry, I can't do math. Either Tracking or Keychain will set the alien encounters to 1, but then if you play Tidepool Pupil and pick another alien encounters, it will cost 0. Because of Rangari Scout as well, you can get 2 alien encounters, so you can play 2 alien encounters on turn 4 after having played 1 on turn 3. Not that crazy of high roll. You need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards total-ish by turn 4, which isn't that impossible, especially if you're on the coin. You'll get about 6 cards. But you also have cards like Tracking and Birdwatching and Scarab Keychain to help you like kind of get through that, right? So it's not impossible, and it's just so strong. The rest of the cards are crazy, of course. Parallax Cannon is the best hunter weapon ever, I want to say. It's 3 mana, 2/3 weapon, has +2 attack if you discovered this turn. Spellburst, your hero is immune this turn. It's a crazy card. I think this deck is just, honestly, it just looks so gross. I'm so real with you. You have Grifta, Trusted Vendor to get the 1 mana deal 6 option. Then you can play that and then put it in the pupil pool, play pupils with Rengari Scout to get more copies of the 1 mana deal 6, and just burn your opponent out from there. It looks so disgusting, truly. Like, this is one of the most disgusting decks of the expansion, in my opinion. This version that I have might not be the best version, don't get me wrong. There's probably a better version out there, but this is what I've put together. Again, I'm not a big standard player. I only play standard decks that I enjoy, so not, like, I don't play every single class in standard like I want to, and I don't really queue into them that often because I don't play that much standard, but I have been playing more standard since last expansion because, well, Wild is unplayable right now. It's so terrible right now. So I'm going to be playing standard this expansion for sure, but I think this is like at least like 25, maybe 26 cards, correct? Maybe you don't want something like Ethereal Oracle. I put it in the deck because not only does it draw cards, which I want, but it's spell damage for like your Grifta, like your Pupil, like Rengari turns to get more of those deal 6s. Maybe Hidden Meaning isn't that good, even though I think it is. But overall, it's pretty. I think this deck is pretty close to what you should be running. Then we have Mage. So Elemental Mage was already a really good deck, but then they just gave it like really crazy cards. They gave it Blazing Accretion, 3 mana, 3/1 Elemental, destroy the top 3 cards of your deck. Any fire spells or elementals are drawn instead. Every card in this deck is a fire spell or an elemental, so it's 3 mana, 3/1, draw 3 cards. You have Solar Flare, which is 5 mana fire spell, deal 2 damage to all enemies, cost 1 less for each elemental you control, so it's 0 mana, deal 2 damage to all enemies. That's a crazy card. That is a crazy card. Saroon is a 6 mana, 7/6 elemental with Battlecry. Give elementals in your deck fire spell damage +1. Like, this deck is going to be so crazy. You just play it in an insane amount of tempo. You get to Saroon. You can get it out early because of cards like Aquatic Archivist. So you can get Saroon out, and then you make your entire deck have a fire spell damage. You can get Overflow Surger to like summon 7 copies of itself, so you can get 7 spell damage on board to make your Solar Flares 0 mana, deal 9. Flame Geysers, 1 mana, deal 9. Molten Rune is 3 mana, deal 20. You have to forge it, so it's 5 mana, deal 20. But still, that's nothing to scoff at. You have the new card from the mini set, Burn Down, which is just, it just draws you 3 cards for free because, well, as long as you don't let them not be played, you can, it doesn't have a downside. It's such a, this deck looks really powerful. I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, a version of this, maybe a more, like, better version of my list, or, not my list, maybe a better version of the list. My list looks not that great. Like, I have 1 Sleet Skater, maybe Lamplighter doesn't make the cut. That's, like, a maybe. I don't really know. But some way, someone's going to make a list of this that is, like, really strong, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. I really hope this deck is playable, because I want to play Solar Flare Mage. Can you blame me? Then we have Paladin. So Paladin is like one of the most anticipated decks by a lot of people for a great reason. It's Libram Paladin. Libram Paladin is back. We haven't had Librams in Standard in like 3 years. They rotated in... Yeah, they rotated at the end, or I guess 2 years technically, because they rotated at the beginning of 21 or 22, whatever. They haven't been in Standard for like 2 rotations. So... I mean, people love Librams. Librams were super popular when they existed. We don't have a lot of cards that made Librams really strong. Like, we don't have Knight of Anointment to draw the holy spells. We don't have Penflinger, which was the real thing that made Librams super powerful. We don't have Animated Broomstick to make it so we can, like, rush our Libram minions as efficiently. Like, yeah, we have cards like Dance Floor, but Dance Floor is not nearly as good as Animated Broomstick. But you run all of the new Libram cards. Like, there's 7 cards that go into the Libram deck. You have Yarel, Beacon of Hope. You have Libram of Faith, Libram of Divinity, Libram of Clarity, Interstellar Researcher, draws Librams. Interstellar Wayfarer is a discounter. Interstellar Star Slicer is a discounter. The deck just looks so clean. I'm also running the Taurus package because, well, a big thing about these Librams is you want them to cost 0. So if you make them cost 0, Lanessa is really good with them. Shocking, I know. Lanessa, obviously, I mean, you get all of the rogue cards, which I think after, like, looking back at this deck, I don't think you want to run Metal Detector. I think the card is just not good enough. I think you'd rather run, like, some kind of minion. But it just... This is such a deck of all time. I'm gonna be so real with you. If anything, Libram of Clarity, which is the one that draws 2 minions, might not have enough minions in this deck, which is why I'm like, I don't think Metal Detector is good enough. Same with Dance Floor. Like, without having, like, Broom and Penflinger, you don't have enough, like, really good minions, is kind of the issue. Maybe that's just a me thing, but I think that overall the Libram package looks really... Or not, I don't even think it looks really good. I think it looks playable. It has some issues, right? Like, it just doesn't have ultra efficient minions with the like repeatable Librams like you had in the past, right? Because that was the main strength of Librams in the past, is that you could just repeat them over and over again. You could play Libram of Wisdom, which was the 2-mana one that would give a minion +1/+1, and then Death Rattle, add it back to your hand. So you kept bouncing that over and over again for a crazy amount of value. You would play it on your Silverhand recruits. You would play it on everything. You would give the minions rush so they would die off, and then play more Librams, and you had Penflinger to make a lot of use out of each Libram you'd play, because, well, Penflinger would deal 1 damage with Spell Burst. I think that Libram Paladin looks really interesting, honestly, but I would not be surprised if it wasn't that great. I'm gonna be honest with you. Then we have Priest. So Priest has, like, a not that great set overall. Like, let me rephrase. It's not that it's bad, it's that it looks boring. A lot of the Priest cards look really bad, though, like, is the thing. But the cards that look good look really strong. Like Ascara and Shield of Ascara are, I think, the only Priest class cards that I put in here. Yeah, I think so. The main idea behind this deck, right, is it's a Velen, like, value deck. You play all of your Draenei, right? You play Starlight Wanderer to give your next Draenei +2/+1. You play 2 of those. Stranded Spaceman to give it +2 health and rush. You play 2 of those. You play, like, Ascara. The next Draenei, you play someone's copy of itself. Then you get all these Draenei effects into the pool, and then you play Velen, Leader of the Exiled, with Taunt, Death Rattle, trigger the Battle Cries, and Death Rattle of all other Draenei you played this game. Then you play more Velen. You have Creation Protocol to try and generate more Velens. You have Astral Vigilant, that you can copy as well with either, you know, Creation Protocol or Power Chord Synchronize. And what the whole idea is that you keep playing more and more and more Velens, and every time Velen dies, it summons more Velens, right? Because of Ascara. So you play Ascara, and then if your next Draenei is Velen, well, you get 2 Velens. And if those die, well, the next time you play a Draenei, it's going to be Velen, you get 4 Velens. And then, because you have 4 Velens, you'll get a full board of Velens. And every time the Velens die, they trigger off more of these Battle Cries and Death Rattles, right? You have Carnivorous Cube to get more Velens. You have, like, Ascara to get more Velens. You just keep getting more Velens. They keep getting a lot of stats. And because of the way that the Velens work, right, is that, like, every single one of them, when they die, makes your next Draenei get +2/+1, +2 health, right? So you get gigantic board of minions that your opponent can't really deal with after a certain point. You can keep resummoning with cards like Rest in Peace. You can steal opponents' really important value cards with Puppet Theater. And I think this deck has legs. I think that, like, this deck is not that bad overall. Like, truly is not that bad of a deck. And I think people are sleeping on just infinitely repeated value of Velens. Like, yeah, you know, we have Reno Lone Ranger and stuff like that, but, like... Okay. Rogue time. So Rogue got really bad cards this expansion. Like, really bad. Rogue just looks terrible this expansion. So I made a meme deck. It's Control Rogue. The whole idea is that you have all the Starship pieces, you play all your cards that generate Starship pieces, then you turn it in Maestra, so you can play Test Greymane to get all your Starship pieces again. You build a gigantic Starship, like, incredibly huge Starship, right? So then you can play cards like MC Blingtron to give your opponent the 1/2 microphone. Your opponent's microphone increases all damage they take by 1. Well, on its own, that doesn't seem that crazy, right? But when you play the Exodar has an effect that is summon your Starship and deal its attack randomly split amongst all enemies, right? So in 1 damage intervals. Which means MC Blingtron doubles the damage that the Exodar does from your Starship. So you build an utterly gigantic Starship. I mean, MC Blingtron's probably not actually that good of a card. I just ran it because it's funny. You build 2 gigantic Starships because of the Gravitational Displacer. If you've had, like, Test go off, you'll get another one, right? Because you'll have 2 Gravitational Displacers in play from, like, Maester Test. I think that, like, this deck is terrible. However, don't get me wrong, this deck is absolutely terrible, but I'm going to be playing it, right? It looks like a fun deck. I'm definitely going to be playing it. It might even be, like, my 3rd or 4th deck that I'm going to play. That's just really crazy. I'm not going to play a lot of games on it because it looks terrible, but It just looks so much fun, and Starship Rogue is something to look forward to. Overall, I think that, like Rogue's package, this expansion is just so bad, right? Maybe the fact that you can play, like, I don't know, maybe Control Rogue is the new meta, right? I have no idea. I'm running one of Quasar to, like, discount the deck, because it's really expensive, too. But, I don't know. Maybe this is the new meta. This breaks the meta. It's Control Rogue for the first time ever.
Yeah, sure.
Then we have Shaman. Shaman is, like, my most anticipated deck by far. I want to play Asteroid Shaman. I want to play Meteor Shaman. I love it so much. I made this list, like, the day of it came out. It's probably not the best list ever, don't get me wrong, but it's just so much fun. It's going to be so much fun. You have all the new Asteroid cards to fill your deck full of 1-mana spells that deal 2 damage to a random enemy when they are drawn. You can increase the damage of those spells with Bull-Eyed Behemoth because its Battlecry increases your Asteroid's damage. Ethereal Oracle is a spell damage minion with Spell Burst, draw 2 spells, so it can give spell damage to those asteroids, but you can draw a bunch of them. You have some mini combos like Hagatha the Fabled with Meteor Storm. Yeah, technically it's not great, right? But
the thing is you can play Shutter Block.
If you Shutter Block and then play the slime that has Meteor Storm in it, yeah, okay, you're destroying the slime, but you're dealing 15 damage to the entire board and shuffling 15 meteors into your deck. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this deck. It's going to be so much fun. Sasquatch gets so much value because you can replay Murmur, you can replay Meteor Storm, and the way that it works is, so Murmur will kill the minions that you play on its turn, right? But when you play Sasquatch, it will replay all of those cards. It won't get their battle cries, but you'll get a crazy amount of stats and Murmur back in board to do even more stuff. I think this deck is going to be really strong. Like, actually, maybe not this version, right? That's why I keep saying I don't think maybe, like, my versions are definitely not the best because, again, I'm not a big standard player, but I think these decks look so fun. I can't wait to just fill my deck full of damage, draw my entire deck, and then my opponent just blows up. It's going to be so fun. I really don't know, like, if there is a single deck in this expansion that looks more interesting to me than this. Even the Hunter deck doesn't look even close. It doesn't look nearly as close, and that's crazy for me. Then we have Warlock. So Demon Warlock looks pretty cool. I don't think it's that great, right? But overall looks really fun. You have infinite value because of Kil'jaeden. Kil'jaeden will replace your deck with infinite demons that get +2/+2 every turn. So you can get bigger and bigger and bigger demons, and that's pretty cool. You can discount them with Foreboding Flame, which is a 2-mana card that makes all demons that you didn't start in your deck cost 2 less, which is really interesting with ETC because you can run something like Sargeras in your ETC, and it will cost less with Foreboding Flame. I did this just cause, right? The ETC is probably terrible. You probably don't even run ETC. However, it's really funny, and I wanted to run it. You have, like, Archimond, which is the new legendary, which will resummon demons that didn't start in your deck this game. You have a lot of cards that discover demons. You even have Demonic Dynamics, which gets buffed next expansion. They already preemptively buffed this card. It was 3 mana, discover 2 demons, finale, give them +1/+2. Now it's 2 mana, discover 2 demons, which is pretty good, actually, considering Foreboding Flame. You have, like, Demonic Studies, which has always been a bad card, but now they have Foreboding Flame, well, it seems pretty good. Fracking gets so much value in this deck because Kil'jaeden has an infinite value, like, infinite pool of demons. Fracking is just 1 mana draw a demon. It's just tracking. Instead of, like, destroying the cards, well, you can't destroy it because the deck is infinite in size. So it looks really strong. You have the new, like, I'm running cards like Black Hole. I don't think Black Hole is very good. It's destroy all minions except demons. You only have 1 non-demon in this deck. However, I'm not sure if that's a good card at all. Who really knows? And then I'm just running, like, a lot of draw card, a lot of, like, generation cards, stuff like that. Overall, I think this list is probably not very optimized in the slightest. It's probably a really bad list. I wouldn't play this on... I personally wouldn't play it. Well, okay, let me rephrase. If I were you, I wouldn't take it. However, I'm going to be playing it because I think it's hilarious. I think this deck is absolutely hilarious. I think it's terrible, and I probably won't play very many games of it, but if I can get one game where, like, I can get, like, a +10/+10 on a demon or something, gosh, that's going to be awesome. It's going to be so cool. Anyway, we have the last one, which is Warrior. Warrior looks awesome to me. Again, this is not an optimal list. Don't like take it with a grain of salt. This is just like a proof of concept kind of stuff. That's how I've been doing it the whole video. I think that like Draenei Warrior is gonna be awesome. You play full tempo. You play cards on turn 1, you play cards on turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, and then turn 5. You play exact tempo. You punch your opponent in the face, and it's gonna be awesome. You have cards like Crystalline Great Mace, which is 2 mana, 2/2 weapon. After hero attacks, give all Draenei in your hand plus 2 attack. I mean, you're running like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 Draenei, and then you have cards that get you more Draenei, and you have cards that draw you more cards. It's so gross. It's so much attack. You have Expedition Sergeant, which is 3 mana, 3/4 Battlecry. The next Draenei you play immediately attacks a random enemy. So if you're on an empty board, you can do crazy amount of damage. You have Unyielding Vindicator, which is 4 mana, 5/4. The next Draenei you play gives your hero its attack for that turn. That's crazy when you have cards like Stalwart Avenger or Velen, which have 7 attack. So Great Mace gets them up to 11 attack, and then if you have 2 Great Maces, 15 attack. So you could just there is a real world where Velen dies, and then you play like a Stalwart Avenger with like 15 attack, you gain 30 attack, it attacks face twice, and then you just deal like 60 damage to your opponent. That is a real world that can happen, which is crazy. I think this deck is going to be awesome, right? I don't think that, like, overall, most of the cards are that great, right? I am running Shafar because, well, a big portion of the deck is hand buff already from Crystalline Great Mace. So I think Shafar and, like, Cup of Muscle can do some pretty cool stuff. But, I don't know. I'm having a great time with this one. I really think this deck is going to be a lot of fun. Is it going to be great? Probably not. But I am going to have a big old blast playing Tempo Warrior. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me anything down below. Are you going to be playing any of these lists? Are you going to play anything similar? Do you have better lists that I would definitely rather have than my bad ones? Tell me down below. I'd love to hear it. I have 2 giveaways going on for the Great Dark Beyond. One, all you have to do to enter is like the video. Comment down below your favorite card that has... Or actually, I guess comment below your favorite card of the expansion, because all the cards are out now. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I can tell. And I have another one for members. A membership is just like a Twitch subscription. My lowest tier is 99 cents because, well, I don't really care about the money. I just want people to become members on my channel because I can get more emotes. If I have more emote slots, well, that's really fun. I like making emotes. I have 2 emotes that I made, and I can't put on my channel yet. And it's really annoying. It's just a way for me to give back to my community, and thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Shadows are rising again!
Darker than they've ever been.